Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is extremely close to breaking out above this significant line of resistance, activating a new price target that we need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment and the next trading opportunity, alongside the fact that we have massive liquidity still building just above and just below the price of Bitcoin, while the price of XRP is now testing and getting close to breaking a very significant area of resistance, while Chainlink is already now starting to break out above a significant area of resistance. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin price chart, once again, we're still lacking momentum in the weekly Bitcoin MACD, telling us to not expect a significant amount of bullish momentum on the larger timeframes or bearish momentum. Honestly, we're still looking very neutral on the larger timeframes. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin price chart, at least for now, we're still forming a massive bearish divergence, which is something to pay attention to. But over the last day, nothing's really changed on the weekly time frame. And so taking a look at this 3-day time frame, and the same can be said here, once again, we're still lacking momentum here in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD. So not a lot has changed over the last 1 day. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, once again, we still have potentially a massive cup and handle pattern to watch out for, which is a bullish price pattern, but this only confirms and activates a bullish price target only if we confirm a breakout, ideally with a 3-day candle close above this neckline here, above around 110,000. So obviously, at least for now, that has not currently happened, which means at least for now, this pattern is not currently confirmed. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, once again, we're still in basically a descending parallel channel, forming slightly lower highs and lower lows, but overall, it's only very slightly moving in the bearish direction. It's relatively neutral, as we can see. And for now, this line of resistance is sitting at around 109,500 approximately. So in between around 109,000 to 110,000, around there, expect resistance. And we have this line of support for the parallel channel sitting at around 100,000. And we also have the center line acting as a bit of support, as we can see, and that's sitting at just under 105,000. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, we also have support at around 103,000 and 98,000, and resistance at, once again, 110,000 and also at 112,000. And if we're taking a look at this Bitcoin price chart on the 6-hour time frame, we can see that in the shorter term, the price is still struggling around this area. But as I explained over the last 1 to 2 days or so, this area is starting to lose relevance. It's not as important as, for example, a few days ago back here. But either way, expect a small amount of resistance at approximately 109,000, and then a lot of resistance at 110 to 110.5k, and short-term support at 107.5k, and a lot of support in between 105.5k to 106.5k. And unfortunately, the situation right now is that we're still lacking momentum in the shorter term. We're basically bouncing around sideways. Obviously, I'd like to say that we're going to see a massive bullish or massive bearish move, kind of like what we saw previously, but at least for now, we just don't really have that sort of momentum in the market. And if we're taking a look at this Bitcoin price chart, zooming further into the short term on the 2-hour time frame, while the price of Bitcoin is just chopping around sideways, we can clearly see that we're forming descending highs, lower highs, but also slightly higher lows, forming a symmetrical triangle pattern, also known as a horizontal triangle pattern. And currently, this line of resistance is sitting at approximately 108.9k. So ideally, I'd like to see a confirmed breakout with candle closes above ideally 109,000 to actually confirm this breakout here. And this support line is currently sitting at around 107.7k. And so in the meantime, while the price is still forming this pattern, once again, we just have to wait for a break of one of those levels in order to activate the next price target for this price pattern right here. And speaking about that price target, if we actually take a look at a measured move, for example, if we actually confirm a breakout above this line of resistance, that would activate a bullish price target at approximately 111.5k. So from the breakout to the price target, that's around a 2 to 3% move towards the upside, which doesn't sound like a massive move, but for example, a 10x leverage long position could make a quick 20 to 30% profit in that example. As always, not financial advice, I'm just sharing a possible trading opportunity. But if we do not actually confirm the breakout above this resistance, keep in mind this price target will not come into play. So at least for now, it is not currently active. And on the other hand, if we fail to actually break out here and instead instead we break below the line of support here that I just mentioned earlier, in that situation that will set up a bearish price target for this triangle pattern sitting at just above 105,000, around 105.2k. And so this could potentially be the next short-term trading opportunity, especially if you're more of a day trader. A move like this will likely play out relatively quickly, considering it's only on the 2-hour time frame, so each one of these candles is just 2 hours. But once again, I want to make it clear, at least for now, those price targets are not currently confirmed. They're not in play, which means we're not currently in a trade for this pattern right here. I'm not trading this pattern, at least for now. But if we see a break below support, once again, that would activate the bearish price target. If we break resistance, that would activate the bullish price target. So that would be a potential entry and an exit point in either scenario. So we just have to wait for the entry signal in order to activate the trading strategy. And as I always say, we cannot forget about support and resistance. So for example, if we break below this line right here, activating the bearish price target, or vice versa, activating the bullish price target, of course, once again, we have support and resistance on this price chart, which we cannot ignore. So the price, for example, can bounce at these levels of support before perhaps hitting the bearish price target, or reject at these levels of resistance before actually hitting the bullish price target. And if you want to actually take trades just like this for yourself to make a lot of profits in the crypto market, no matter what direction the price goes, obviously you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm taking a lot of my crypto trades over on BTNX, so I'll make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this sign up page right here where you can claim some massive trading bonuses. For example, up to $45,000 in trading bonuses, and also deposit bonuses. For example, if you deposit just $1,000, you get a $200 bonus into your BTNX account. But that's only available if you use the link below this video to make your BTNX account. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take that next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using that link to take advantage of these massive bonuses here. And in case you're wondering, BTNX is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want BTNX as an exchange, there's also 2bit as another option out there, another exchange that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video. And if you use that link, you can also get some massive trading bonuses over there. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and currently we have a lot of liquidity building below the price and also above the price here in the short term, which is very interesting. And so this could possibly lead to some sort of fake out scenario. So for example, if we see a break below this line of support activating the bearish price target, we may head towards the price target, towards this downside liquidity. But then perhaps once we take out that liquidity, we could head in the other direction to take out the upside liquidity, or vice versa. So just be aware that this could cause some sort of fake out scenario. Once again, the bullish scenario here would be if we break out towards the upside, head up towards the bullish liquidity, but then maybe once we actually hit that liquidity, we could reverse towards the downside liquidity. So keep that in mind. That is what these two levels are basically telling us right now in the shorter term, because usually, not always, but usually the price of Bitcoin tends to move towards where there's a lot of liquidity, and usually the price tends to hit those liquidation levels. And currently the downside liquidity is sitting at approximately 107,000, or just under 107,000, and the upside liquidity is sitting at around 110.6k. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, and right now Ethereum is still continuing a bit of a short-term bullish relief, but during a much larger sideways price range, as we can see. And this sideways price range is still in between roughly 2.4k to 2.8k. So I'd expect a lot of resistance in between 2.7k to 2.8k, and a lot of support at around 2380 to 2.4k. And overall, expect the price of ETH to remain in this sideways price range, at least for the next few days, possibly weeks, because once again, we're still lacking momentum, still in a sideways price range, and expect similar price action for Ethereum as what I said for Bitcoin. So for example, if Bitcoin breaks out from this short-term price pattern towards the upside, that can help Ethereum perhaps continuing the short-term bullish relief towards this resistance, and then most likely test this resistance and then struggle in that area. But overall, honestly, there's not a lot to add for Ethereum over the last one day. Nothing's really changed, as we can see. So getting straight into the price of Solana on the daily time frame, and Solana has just recently seen another bounce from this important area of support, still sitting in between around 143 to 146. But despite the latest bounce from this area, obviously we're still lacking momentum to either direction, looking very, very neutral in the short term, not bullish, not bearish, but basically bouncing around sideways. That is still simply the situation, as I've been saying every day for around a week now on the channel. And obviously over the last 1 week since I've been saying that, it's been playing out out exactly as I've been predicting. And when it comes to short-term resistance to watch out for, we do have a bit of resistance at roughly 155, give or take, and significant resistance at around 166 to 167. And if Ethereum continues this short-term bullish relief to test this resistance right here, and especially if Bitcoin sees some sort of short-term breakout, that can really help the price of Solana with perhaps a little bit more of a short-term bullish relief towards that next significant resistance at roughly 167, give or take. But overall, once again, we're still relatively neutral, simply lacking momentum. And so not a lot has changed for Solana over the last one day. So without wasting any time, getting straight to the price of XRP on the 12-hour time frame. And what is right now happening for XRP is we're testing a significant area of resistance, still sitting in between around 231 to 236 approximately. So expect the price to struggle in this area, as we've seen many times over the last few weeks and months. But if the price of XRP finally confirms a breakout, with candle closes confirming at least on the 12-hour time frame, but ideally a daily candle close confirming above around $2.36, in that situation, the next resistance to target is sitting at around $2.44 to $2.45, and above that, the next significant resistance is this local high here that we set back in the middle of May, and that's sitting at roughly around $2.61 to $2.62, give or take. And in fact, if we see that breakout confirm above 236, and especially if we hold that as new support, that's extremely bullish price structure, because we're breaking out of this massive range right here, and that would significantly increase the probability that would actually just keep heading up towards roughly 260 as the next significant resistance. And so this is definitely an important area of resistance to pay attention to here in the shorter term. And if we're taking a look at the 6-hour time frame, at least for now, we're still possibly forming a rising wedge pattern, which is technically a bearish price pattern, but while it's still forming, once again, we're still waiting for a confirmation signal to actually confirm the pattern. For example, a break above this resistance or below this support. And in case you're wondering, this line of support is sitting at around $2.27, and this line of resistance is sitting at around $2.36. And of course, if we break below the line of support, that would set up a bearish price target at the bottom of the wedge at around $2.09. But between the break and the price target, we also have other levels of support to pay attention to. First of all, we have this level right here sitting at approximately $2.21, and we also have this level right here sitting at around $2.17, acting as some major support, at least in the short term. But honestly, if the price of XRP actually breaks out above around $2.36, once again, considering this is a larger time frame than the 6-hour time frame, and the larger time frames are more important than the smaller time frames, honestly, I'll just continue to expect more of a bullish move towards these next major points of resistance, and not worry too much about this rising wedge pattern on the smaller time frames if we actually confirm a breakout on the larger time frames above around $2.36. And in case you're wondering, when it comes to support to watch out for, I would expect a lot of support at roughly 220 based on this Fibonacci level at 220. And once again, as I said earlier, we have short-term support at around 220 to 221. But with that being said, taking a look at Chainlink on the 12-hour time frame, and just over the last one day, we confirmed a 12-hour candle close above a key short-term area of resistance, which was sitting in between roughly around 1370 to 1390, give or take, based on these highs right here. And just over the last one day, once again, we confirmed a 12-hour candle close above 1390. And so it is looking likely we'll continue more of a bullish relief towards this next level of resistance here, sitting at around 1440 to 1450. And then if we break out above that level, continue to expect a bullish move towards this next significant area of resistance, still sitting in between around 1530 to 1550. And like I've been saying many times over the last few days or so, over the last 1 week, give or take, technically the shorter term price structure or the shorter term momentum is very, very neutral with a very slight bullish bias. As we can see, we're very, very slightly moving towards the bullish direction, but with basically no momentum. We're still lacking momentum in the shorter term. And so considering the fact that we've not really seen any massive catalysts that actually change that, I'd not be surprised if we continue to see a bit more of a slight bullish relief, but still lacking bullish momentum as the most likely scenario for the next few days or possibly weeks. And if we're zooming further into the short term, we can see that just over the last few hours, over the last one day, we've now officially confirmed a breakout in the 4-hour Chainlink RSI above this descending line of resistance, which now officially invalidates this short-term bearish divergence. And so obviously this played out very nicely for a few days here, a short-term pullback followed by a bit of choppy sideways price action, the most likely outcomes from a bearish divergence, but right now this is now officially invalidated. important. But once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, make sure to check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto no matter what the price is doing, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit during choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.